Hi everyone. I wanted to offer a brief word about this week's Torah portion, Parashat Noah. It, of course, is the famous story of Noah and the ark. And right near the beginning of the Parsha, there's a verse which describes Noah and his qualities. It says, Noach ish tzadik tamim haya bedorotav. The translation in the Eitz Chaim Chumash is, Noah was a righteous man. He was blameless in his age. Now, the rabbis, they try to understand what it means that he was blameless in his age or in his generation. There's an interpretation which is to the positive side of things, and there's an interpretation to the negative side of things. So the positive side would be he was righteous in his generation, and had he lived in Abraham's generation even, he would have been also considered righteous. That is to say, he was a righteous man in all ages. On the negative side of things, it says he was righteous in his generation. But you have to remember that Noah's generation was swept away in the flood. How good do you really have to be righteous in a generation like that? Not all that good. But he was just a bit better than those who died in the flood. And I think that even though Midrash Agadah, that is to say, interpretations that are about the narrative sections of the Torah, they can each stand on their own. They don't have to be that one is right and one is wrong. There doesn't have to be a decision between the two. We can hold them both equally. But I do think that we might ask ourselves a question. What is it about these two interpretations that appeal to us? To which side do we lean? Do we lean towards the side that Noah was just a little bit better than a very evil generation? Or do we lean to the side which says that Noah was a righteous man for all ages? And I think the reason we might want to ask ourselves this question really has to do with what our goals and our aspirations should really be for ourselves. Of course, all of us are impacted by the society around us. And we set our values in many ways based on the people we know, the company we keep, the society we live in. And that can be good if our society is really striving to do the best for itself, to seek justice, to help the people around them who are in need. But if our society is not doing that, we're aiming just a bit higher than average, and perhaps that's not good enough. We might want to emphasize the interpretation that says that Noah was a righteous man for all generations. We want our goals to be goals that would be universally respected. That is to say, over time. We want to be aiming high. We want to be aiming to be as righteous as Abraham. We want to be aiming to be living our lives in accord with what we think are the best values that have lasted for ages. We don't want to be overly impacted by what is happening just at this moment, because we may lose out on those traditional values that we respect, that we know are critical to living a good life. Now, we can't tell just from the verse whether Noah was just a little bit better than those who died in the flood, or if he was really a man who was righteous for all generations. But for us, we can ponder these two possible interpretations. We can both recognize the way the society around us impacts our values, and we can strive to become ourselves people who are righteous for all generations. Shabbat Shalom.